Hi everyone, welcome back to Actual English. I'm Jennifer Clyde. It's time for lesson 338, and today's topic is Multiculturalism 3, focusing on entertainment. So what comes to mind when I say entertainment? Entertaining things, activities, television programs, idol groups, female bands, boy bands, celebrities. What comes to mind? Movies, for example? Well, all of these things can be categorized as entertainment or in the entertainment category. We'll today specifically talk about Hallyu, how a certain trend can actually influence an industry in a certain country. Now, Hallyu is greatly influencing the entertainment industry in Korea as more and more people around the world are gaining interest in our culture, in K-pop and even Korean dramas. So we'll be talking about Hallyu today as well as entertainment in general. So here we go.
Hey Gareth, you know what I'm really impressed by? Hallyu is really making its way into all corners and aspects of Earth, or life here anyway, especially entertainment. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a rapper named Pinnacle, really talented guy, and we were talking about the differences between traditional Western rap and this emerging young Korean hip-hop. And I found it really interesting to find out that, I guess, a world apart, the content is still the same. There's elements of the clothing, obviously the language is different, but the content's still the same sentiments, a lot of similarities. And it's really interesting for me that Hallyu is spreading out, and yet a lot of Western elements are still being maintained in entertainment. You ever notice that?
I do, yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point you make, actually. And I think Korea is, in many ways, becoming more westernized.
Yeah.
I mean, I notice on the TV, there's this great TV program with a lot of foreign guys where they talk about their cultures and you get to know about their life and their family. And it's great to see, Koreans learning about different cultures. And equally as well, these guys, when they talk about their friends or family they miss, they really express emotion. Some of them get upset and cry on TV. And I think that really sends out a very healthy message about men and being able to express emotion, and it's okay.
Yeah.
So I think it does a lot of good for Korean men as well, and for society as a whole,
Well, that's a completely separate issue, but I agree with you. I think it's
Yeah.
important for people to be able to be vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
But I think it is interesting. I guess it's a big world, but it's a small world. And so next time I listen to a hip-hop song, I'll be listening to the content a little closer. Thank you, Pinnacle. And I'm going to try and watch that show.
Yeah, you should do. It's really
I
good,
will.
really interesting.
Thank you.
As you have just heard, that was today's actual talk conversation between Gareth and Kelly. These two are focusing on entertainment, but specifically Hallyu, right? So let's take a look at what they've mentioned about Hallyu and its influence. So first of all, Kelly says to Gareth, Gareth, you know what I'm really impressed by? Okay, so she asks if he knows what she is impressed by. She says, Hallyu is really making its way into all corners and aspects of life here, meaning in Korea, especially entertainment. So here is the word, our topic for today's lesson. So she's talking about entertainment, and a kind of entertainment or a part of entertainment is, of course, Hallyu. So she talks about Hallyu. She's impressed by Hallyu. So she begins by talking about Hallyu. It's really making its way into all corners of life. So let's take a look at this pattern here. All corners of something means all parts of something or all places of something, okay? All corners of something. Everything about, all parts of life, for instance, okay? So she's saying it's a part of, it's becoming a part of everything. It's becoming a part of our lives here in Korea, especially entertainment. So in other words, she is saying that Hallyu is a big part of Korean entertainment, okay? The Korean entertainment industry. She says, I was talking to a friend of mine who is a rapper named Pinnacle, a really talented guy. So she was talking to a friend of hers who happens to be a rapper, okay? And his name is Pinnacle. And she describes him to be a very talented guy. So here is a vocab word, a talented person. So Pinnacle is a very talented guy, a talented man, okay? Talented guy is just a casual way of saying male, man, in other words. But when you say that somebody is talented, what do you mean? It means that he or she has talent in doing something, has special skills, okay? So another way of putting it is he or she is skilled. He or she is talented or is a talented, skilled person. So now we know that she was talking to her friend about this. And we were talking about the differences between traditional Western rap and this emerging young Korean hip-hop. If something emerges, let's say, for example, it means to appear, come up. Something is emerging. So she's saying that perhaps Korean hip-hop is emerging, meaning it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's gaining more attention. It's becoming more popular. It's emerging. So they were talking about the differences. They were comparing traditional Western rap and young Korean hip-hop. I found it really interesting to find out that the content is still the same. So everything about hip-hop, the new hip-hop and the old traditional rap is very similar. Everything is the same, the content. What's included is all the same. Obviously, what's included, language, is different, but the content's still the same. So language is different, but the content is the same. Okay, what is included? And then she says, same sentiments. Sentiment. What is a sentiment? We're talking about our feelings, our thoughts, okay? The feelings. You know the word sentimental, right? Sentimental. If you say, I'm feeling sentimental, it means I'm kind of feeling emotional, right? So sentiment is basically just the feeling of something or emotion, okay? Feeling that you get from something. So we get the same feeling, same emotions, a lot of similarities. And it's really interesting for me that Hallyu is spreading out, and yet a lot of Western elements are still being maintained in entertainment. So here we go. They first of all talk about Western rap versus Korean hip-hop. And then she says that there are many similarities. These two genres have many similarities, okay? There are a lot in common, such as the same sentiments and contents, right? And she says, Hallyu is spreading out. Spread out means what? Okay? A disease can spread, but when you say spread out, it means to extend or expand to different places, to more places. It's spreading out. It's becoming bigger and bigger, expanding to more places. So, yes, and a lot of Western elements are still being maintained. They're still kept in entertainment. And so she says, you ever noticed that? Meaning, have you ever noticed that? And he says, yeah, I do. I think Korea is in many ways, becoming more westernized. So Korea is in many ways becoming westernized. Now he's talking about just Korea. I guess even in the entertainment industry, things are becoming more and more westernized. It's not traditionally Korean, but it's more westernized. I noticed on TV, Okay, this is an example I noticed on TV. A lot of foreign guys, okay, where they talk about their cultures, their life, and their family. Okay, and it's great to see Koreans learning about different cultures. So this program lets Koreans learn about different cultures of other countries. Do you know what he's talking about? I think I know which program he's talking about, where they have a panel of foreign guests on the program, and they talk about their stories, their cultures, their experiences, their lives in Korea. And they even compare them to their lives in their home countries. So he's saying it's nice to hear about their cultures, to hear about their lives, to hear their stories, because we Koreans get to learn from them about their cultures, many different cultures. And equally as well, these guys, when they talk about their friends or family they dearly miss, oh, I miss them, they really express emotion. They express emotion. They show emotion. It's true, they don't try to hide their emotion. They are not afraid to express their emotion. Meaning, if they're happy, they show people that they're happy. They laugh like crazy. If they're sad, they show their emotions. They express their emotions by crying on television. They're not afraid to express their emotions. And he thinks it's a good thing. We're talking about men on television, but yes, they're very good at expressing their emotion. And then he says some of them get upset. They get upset and cry on television. So this is exactly what he means by how they express their emotions, okay? They get upset and sometimes even cry on television. And I think that really sends out a very healthy message about men and being able to express emotion, and it's okay. Okay, let's take a look at this long sentence. Let's first of all take a look at to send out. I think that really, he's talking about these gentlemen, these guys, how they show their emotions. They get upset sometimes, they get angry, sometimes they even cry. So he says it's great that they send out a very healthy message. Send out means what? Send out. Send something out means to spread or deliver. Okay? So they are delivering. They are spreading, for example. Sending out healthy message. A healthy message. In this case, healthy means what? A positive message, prosperous, a good message, a positive message to people about men in general, and being able to express emotion. And it's okay. What he's saying is, they're letting people know that even men are human beings. Not only women can cry, but men can cry as well, because men have feelings too. So he's saying it's great that they send out a healthy message, a positive message about it's okay for guys to cry too. It's okay for men to express their emotions. That's what he's saying. And he says, I think it does a lot of good, meaning it has a positive effect for Korean men as well and for society as a whole. Okay? All right, moving on. Now, Kelly says that's a completely separate issue, but I agree with you, okay? Of course, she says it's a different or a separate issue because they're talking about entertainment in general, but he's talking about men and men expressing their emotions. But I guess he was talking about the program. His focus was on the program, which is a part of entertainment. Anyhow, I don't want to confuse you even more, so let's get back on track. She says, I think it's important for people to be able to be vulnerable. It's important for people to be able to be vulnerable. Vulnerable is what? If you say that a person is vulnerable, you are saying that he or she is capable of being hurt, getting hurt, physically and emotionally, but usually we're talking about emotionally, okay? So if a person is easily hurt, gets hurt very easily, you can say he is vulnerable or she is vulnerable. She gets hurt very easily. So be careful what you say, okay, might be something you want to say. So vulnerable is capable of being hurt or wounded physically and emotionally. I guess it's a big world, but it's a small world. That's true. And so next time I listen to a hip hop song, I'll be listening to the content a little closer. Now, content, we're talking about the meaning of something. We had content earlier on in the beginning of the actual talk conversation. Now, when you talk about the contents of something, you're talking about the things that are included in something, okay? It can also mean significance. It can also mean the meaning of something. So she's saying that she will listen more closely to the meaning of the song, thus the lyrics of the song, the next time she listens to a hip-hop song. Okay, with that in mind, let's take a listen to actual talk one more time.
Hey Gareth, you know what I'm really impressed by? Hallyu is really making its way into all corners and aspects of Earth, or life here anyway, especially entertainment. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a rapper named Pinnacle, really talented guy, and we were talking about the differences between traditional Western rap and this emerging young Korean hip-hop. And I found it really interesting to find out that, I guess, a world apart, the content is still the same. You know, there's elements of the clothing, obviously the language is different, but the content's still the same sentiments, a lot of similarities. And it's really interesting for me that Hallyu is spreading out, and yet a lot of Western elements are still being maintained in entertainment. You ever notice that?
I do, yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point you make, actually. And I think Korea is, in many ways, becoming more westernized.
Yeah.
I mean, I notice on the TV, there's this great TV program with a lot of foreign guys where they talk about their cultures and you get to know about their life and their family. And it's great to see, you know, Koreans learning about different cultures. And equally as well, these guys, when they talk about their friends or family they miss, they really express emotion. Some of them get upset and cry on TV. And I think that really sends out a very healthy message about men and being able to express emotion, and it's okay.
Yeah.
So I think it does a lot of good for Korean men as well, and for society as a whole, you know.
Well, that's a completely separate issue, but I agree with you. I think it's
Yeah.
important for people to be able to be vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
But I think it is interesting. I guess it's a big world, but it's a small world. And
Yeah.
so next time I listen to a hip-hop song, I'll be listening to the content a little closer. Thank you, Pinnacle. And I'm going to try and watch that show.
Yeah, you should do. It's really
I
good,
will.
really interesting.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for actual expressions. Let's take a look at some vocab words first. The first word we have for you today is talented. Now, this is not such a difficult word, but let's take a look at it just to check out some synonyms. So, talented. Talented is the word. Accomplished, brilliant, capable, even better, skilled is probably the most commonly used synonym for talented. Okay? If a person is talented in something, meaning has talent in something or is skilled in something, you can describe him or her to be a talented person. Here we go, sentiment. Think of sentimental if you can't remember the meaning of this word. Sentiment, stress goes on the first syllable. We're talking about feeling, okay? Attitude, opinion, position even, but we're talking more about a mental feeling, okay? A mental feeling or our emotions, okay? When we say sentiment. Moving on, healthy. Healthy, of course, we can be healthy, okay? We can eat well, be on a healthy diet. But today we were talking about a healthy message, that's right. How something or somebody can send out a healthy message. In that case, healthy means positive or encouraging, Okay, so healthy is a word we went over today. Another one, vulnerable. This is a bit tricky to pronounce. Let's try it 2 times together. Vulnerable. One more time. Vulnerable. And it means accessible. Defenseless. Defenseless, why? Because as I told you, if a person is vulnerable, he or she is capable of being hurt physically and emotionally. Okay? All right, now moving on to content. Okay, keep in mind, stress goes on the first syllable, content. Content, we're talking about the composition of something, idea even, or I guess the simplest synonym would be meaning of something. Okay, what is included? So let's move on to our patterns for today. We've got 3 for you. The first one is all corners of something, which means all parts of something or all places of something. Here we go with a sample sentence. People came from all corners of the world to attend this conference. So we're saying people came from all parts of the world to attend this conference. People came from all places across the world to attend this conference. Got it? What about spread out? Spread out means to extend in one or more directions. Spread out to many, many places. Okay, many, many directions. We all spread out to search for the missing dog. To search for, to look for the missing dog. So we're talking about a group of people, how they spread out. They went in all different directions to look for the missing dog. And finally, send out. To send something out means to spread something or to deliver something. Okay, let's take a look at a sample sentence. Sometimes sending out a thank you message can make somebody's day. So we're talking about sending out, delivering, okay, a thank you message. How it can be very powerful, how it can make somebody's day, which means to make somebody very, very happy that day. Okay, that is a wrap, everyone. Practice more on your own.
We all live now in a completely multicultural society, and I think the influence, Western influence, should I say, on the entertainment industry in Korea is startling. Not just in pop, but in film, art, and even small things like computer games. Interestingly, let's take Hollywood in America. I think it's had a strong effect and influence in the industry in Korea. And now you have the Hallyu, the Korean wave, which is sending waves in the rest of Asia and East Asia. In terms of music, I think K-pop, which is a massive industry in itself, takes a lot of influence from both American pop, perhaps also from Japanese pop too. So it's interesting how we all combine together in this.
That was Eugene B. from the UK for today's actual story. Thank you, Eugene. Okay, let's take a look at what he's mentioned. First of all, he said, we all live now in a completely multicultural society. So we all live in a multicultural society. That's right. So this would be the key word. We all live in a multicultural society, meaning many cultured society. A society with many different cultures combined. Okay, moving on. I think it had a strong effect and influence in the industry in Korea. Even better, I would probably say that it should be on. Okay, something can have an influence on something or somebody. So that would be the proper way of putting it. But anyhow, the point is, it had a strong effect and influence on the industry in Korea. He began by talking about Hollywood. Okay, how Hollywood influenced Korea in many ways. Okay, and then now you have the Hallyu. So now let's talk about Hallyu, the Korean wave, as we also call it, which is sending waves to the rest of Asia and East Asia. Okay, sending, distributing something, waves. he's just saying that Hallyu is spreading to the rest of Asia and East Asia, to all parts of Asia, I guess. Okay, now Hallyu is spreading across the world. And then finally, it's interesting how we all combine together in this. It's true. Nowadays, we have different cultures mixed in, I guess, songs, dramas, movies, everything. So he's saying it's interesting to see parts of Japanese culture, parts of American culture, and parts of Chinese and Korean culture in something. So he's saying it's interesting how we all combine together in this. So I think he's made a great point. Let's take a listen to actual story one more time.
We all live now in a completely multicultural society, and I think the influence, Western influence, should I say, on the entertainment industry in Korea is startling. Not just in pop, but in film, art, and even small things like computer games. Interestingly, let's take Hollywood in America. I think it's had a strong effect and influence in the industry in Korea. And now you have the Hallyu, the Korean wave, which is sending waves in the rest of Asia and East Asia. In terms of music, I think K-pop, which is a massive industry in itself, takes a lot of influence from both American pop, perhaps also from Japanese pop too. So it's interesting how we all combine together in this.
Today's topic was entertainment, of course, a part of multiculturalism. It's interesting to talk about different cultures and how all these different cultures combine together to become one certain culture. So we're talking about entertainment. We also talked a bit about Hallyu, called the Korean wave, how these cultures influence a certain country's industry. For example, the Korean entertainment industry. So I think towards the end of today's actual story, Eugene B. even mentioned that there was American pop and even Japanese pop, how these two were combined and how these two influenced Korea in many ways as well, which is true. Anyhow, that was today's topic. Next time, let's move on to acts of kindness. 1. Things we often see people doing for others, just a way of expressing themselves in a kind way. Kind things people do in general, simply put. We'll talk about that. In the meantime, come to our homepage, everyone. If you have any messages to share, come to www.ebse.co.kr and post them up on our message board. Okay, that's a wrap for today's lesson. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you again next time. Until then, take care and bye for now.